fairly equally matched according to the numbers here, horsepower-wise. Both BMWs, 650, 600. D-Spec Auto Joe. Let's see what Joe Lynn's got for Chase Schmidt. I know Chase Schmidt got knocked out early in the battles there in round 1, as we'll be getting some insight from Ryan Lontaine as Chase Schmidt and Joe Lynn. So Chase already pulling up to the line. Joe Lynn. And here we go. So our first battle, run 1 of the Achilles Radial Top 32. Join us. Tell everybody to join us online. We are live. Hashtag FDSEA. And we are clear to send. Let's go. Send it. See the other cars there getting staged in the back. And you can see the start light right in between the drivers. Illuminate it, extinguish, and it's time to go. Let's go, fellas. Through that start chicane. Chase Schmidt out front. Lynn in the chase position. Crawling their way into the bank. Chase good, an early initiation. Very familiar with this track. Look at that. Oh, Robin on the wall. Does not, oh man, he is just flirting with disaster. Chase, you are in lead right now. Act like it. Come on, Chase. Coming down into the power alley. The splash on Lynn overshoots the exit of the bank. Now look at that, you can see that clipping point a little later there now, going all the way out to the outside zone of the wall. And Chase just flirting with the edge of it, not getting close to that wall, but man, he is definitely exchanging some paint. Bit of a mosh pit, Ryan, on that initiation, that big bank.
Well, we certainly know that this track is challenging in dry and wet conditions, but in the wet, it presents a lot of other different challenges because there are areas of the course that are a little bit less dry and dry less quickly than others. So, you know, we saw that there on initiation, really trying to hold as much grip as he possibly could in that lead position, and having a little bit of a mistake there in the lead is Chase. But he did save it as best he could. Here it is right here. You can see Lynn trying to stay close in proximity but not get himself in a tough position where he has to compromise. But Chase right there, double tap on the wall, put some angle back in the car. Now we're seeing from Joe a little bit of a lower line overall. Then he really flies off course there, and that is more than 4 wheels off course, so he is way off line there. It could potentially be a situation where, you know, Chase is really hoping in the lead position he did not incomplete that run by tapping the wall twice. I don't think that he did, but it's possible that the judges may look at it that way, and you may have a possible 0 for him. And if that is the case, then the run would have ended there. So we got some question marks on this first run here, Jared.
Yeah,
as we switch things up.
Chase was aggressive. I liked it, but he is familiar with this track probably more than any other Pro 2 driver out there because this is his home track. But Ryan, I gave a laugh out there. You said more than 4 tires off. I don't know how one can do that, but I'm going to tell you that Ryan Lontaine pointed it out. So I definitely appreciate it. Just meaning it was beyond being off track, right? So here we go. Joe Lynn will lead. Chase Schmidt will give Chase. I'm very used to it, so no problem. As Joe Lynn back to that start line. Can he get some redemption there, going way off course in that power alley, exiting the big bank? Chase Schmidt, I think he's going to play it a little calm here, give himself a little bit of a buffer. And there we go. Joe Lynn now, look, he shows up. Very consistent compared to Chase Schmidt slamming and backing it in. Oh, Joe Lynn throws some more angle out of it. Exiting. Oh, and Joe overcooks it once again. That is 3 tires off for sure with the naked eye. Transitioning there in that power alley. Now tightening it up. Chase has really got to keep some composure here. And that is a hard act to follow there, Ryan, as far as Joe and where he was and where Chase was. Gonna have to look at it again. Joe looked, I would say, a little bit better on the bank, more posture, but then he overcooked it again, having really a difficult time, both in lead and chase for Joe.
So Joe out front here, Jared, as he takes a nice approach, high on the bank, staying pretty consistent there. Chase a little bit down lower, has a little bit of adjustment in his angle, kind of cuts up close here, now to back off. But once again, Joe goes really off course there in his lead position. Now taking a look at Chase in the chase here, really trying to slow down and keep angle in the car. And you have to wonder, was that the big angle there that slowed down by Joe that slowed down Chase? The judges certainly have their their job cut out for them here. There's going to be some incomplete somewhere, and I think possibly by Joe in the lead run here coming off the bank is going to be a big one. I think the ambiguity for me really is about the first run and how are they interpreting that.
All right, taking a look here, Joe and Chase, our first official battle here in Seattle. Our battle in Seattle for our triple header weekend. I don't like to call it double header. I think it's a triple header because the Pro 2 caliber drivers of the Link Engine Management Pro 2 Championship have definitely progressed just over the years, and really look forward to seeing them. You know, a lot of these drivers choose to stay kind of in this championship, or they choose to excel on into the Pro Championship. Just given either the build quality, what you know, budget. There's many different indicators or basically facets of their program that could propel them into pro, or just hold idle and enjoy the experience that is Pro 2. As we are waiting for the judges to insert their scores, and it'll be inputted here in just a moment. Could see our next pair just in the burnout box. Gonna warm it up here momentarily, and we'll continue on.
Judges need another look.
You guys good? You're good?
And like we said, from St. Louis to this track, Pro 2 drivers are definitely getting a challenging experience from the hot and humid St. Louis to now the wet Pacific Northwest weather. And this is what really defines a Pro 2 champion and the progression of these drivers, what they're going to see. And here we go, already out of the gate, we're seeing one of our judges go with Chase Schmidt. Looks like Ryan Lontaine going for one more time. And looks like both American judges, the Canadian judge, outnumbered, bro. There you have it. It does happen. It does happen. So Chase Schmidt gets the win. Chase Schmidt gets the win and advances on. As Lontaine, I see you throwing on your headset. You said you get outnumbered all the time. I would not agree with that.
I just didn't see that either driver made a really good case for a win here. And yeah, neither driver made a case for a win in that one. In my eyes, is just sloppy all around. Wall taps from one that looked like it was straightened. Guys dropping tires. It was very, very sloppy. We've been watching practice and it looked great. And I think they both could have done better. But Chase Schmidt does get the win.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you take into fact Joe Lynn going off like extensively on both runs?
I kind of incompleted Chase on the lead for straightening up on the wall on outside zone 1. So, and then you look at Lynn's went 3 tires off and then 2 tires off. So I kind of gave them one more time based on that.
Got it. Copy that. All right, here we go. Moving on to our next battle, Carlos ARRIETA and Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds here from the Pacific Northwest as well, going against ARRIETA, coming to us from Alexandria, Virginia in that SC. Again, another BMW. Like I said, man, those things are getting some drift tax here. Seen a lot of those at different events across the country this year and online.
All right, sending cars.
And we will be seeing Josh Reynolds lead in that SC and ARRIETA giving chase. Sorry, excuse me. Yes, ARRIETA's leading, sorry. And that is a restart. Thank you for correcting me there, Eggert. ARRIETA jumped the light, so he left the start line before the lights completely extinguished, so that'll be a strike. This is where we adopt some of the traditional stick and ball sports, so 3 strikes and you're out. Yeah, right, the old school. Shout out to Mr. Pollock, the ref, the ump. So ARRIETA will lead. Reynolds will give chase. Reynolds operating those vehicles. Drift Cave, actually, Matt Field operating the vehicles. The vehicles actually built over in Switzerland, from what I understand. Eve, the other BMW. He competes in the Pro Championship. As we are ready to send him, let's see, make sure ARRIETA doesn't jump. Looks like yes, and we got a clean start. Here we go, rolling. Low and slow. That is the tempo right now in the conditions. Arrieta initiates. Reynolds back there quite a bit. Oh, man. Hot one. Both these guys going for the wall. Oh. Oh, man. Almost didn't smash the wall, but almost took out Reynolds there. So now Reynolds in that chase position. All right, yard sale, Ryan, here all over the track, but it could have been a lot worse. Could have slammed into that wall a lot harder there, Arrieta.
Well, it's really going to come down to, I mean, we have some incompletes here, obviously. If the lead, you just heard Ryan Lantain say that he incompleted Chase Smith on his lead run, which essentially shut down the run against Joe Lynn. So, again, the lead driver here, you can see Arrieta, big angle, and it looks like see, he incompletes there. So basically, what Ryan Lantain was saying from the previous run is now the run is over. Right? So none of this actually matters. If the chase driver were to incomplete, the lead driver would still need to fulfill the remainder of the course without incompleting. But in this case, this is a more clear example of a driver in the lead position incompleting and the run being shut down at that moment. So basically, this is going to be a big strike here for Carlos Arrieta.
Well elaborated on, Ryan. Appreciate that.
Good.
Staying out of the wet, man. Just trying to stay dry. All right. So unfortunately, we are hearing that Arrieta is calling a competition timeout. Now we did pass a few by runs. Blake Olson, who did podium, or excuse me, just outside of a podium, got 5th place in St. Louis. He advances on, as we saw Chase Schmidt, Brian Wadman, as well as Kelsey Rawlings. All right, so we have our NGK competition timeout here with NGK spark plugs. And in addition to providing spark plugs for domestic and import vehicles, NGK produces spark plugs for motorcycles, power sports, marine, and outdoor power equipment. NGK also offers complementary ignition product lines, including ignition coils, resistor caps, spark plug wires, and high-performance cables. For reliable performance, trust NGK, the ignition specialist. Visit ngksparkplugs.com to learn how NGK is redefining the category with high ignitability technology through its ruthenium HX spark plugs. Again, Arrieta taking that NGK competition timeout. So we will advance on into battle. Again, another bye run we are surpassing. Jonathan Hurst.
Pretty big one coming up here, actually.
Yeah, you were excited about this one, and we're talking about Josh Robinson coming to us from Australia. Brand new vehicle for him. He was campaigning that Holden Ute for quite some time, and now switched it up with the, guess what, another BMW. And Daniel Stuckey with this 2JZ powered S15. Two very capable drivers. This should be an interesting one, right?
Well, we saw and learned a lot from them in St. Louis, and we know both of these guys, I think, at least from that round, and we know from Josh in the past, is certainly a championship contender. So a 32 out here with only 2 rounds to go is going to be a really hard pill to swallow. So this is a big matchup here.
Robinson will lead here in that Euro fighter. And Robinson initiates the Duralast HGK BMW. Throws it in. Stuckey keeping it to the side of that BMW. Stuckey. Let's see how they handle coming off the bank into that power alley. Stuckey giving himself a little bit of air in between the vehicles. Now transition that power alley. Wide swing by Robinson, checking up quite a bit, but it does allow Stuckey to gain that proximity. Now transition, we got that final outer zone. Let's see how they handle it. Robinson gets to the halfway point of that, flirting with the wall, but that's an expensive body kit built in Latvia, so Stuckey comes up a bit shallow. Let's look at it again.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good run by both guys. You know, we saw, a little bit of a feeling like there may have been a wall tap that was going to cause some problems. But Robinson sticks in it. He's pretty high on the bank here, but Stuckey does a great job maintaining proximity and staying on the relative line here. You can see the drivers are needing to make some adjustments, getting through these wet conditions. Robinson was not able to fill that second outside zone, and we'll take a look at it, or excuse me, that third outside zone, and we take a look at it as we come across here. You can see he's just on the inside there, playing it safe. This allows Stuckey to kind of take advantage of that open door, come in tight there on that inside clip, have a nice crossover, and then keep the proximity on. But Robinson was a little bit deeper in that final outside zone. Here it is once again. He just gets right to the edge, and you can see how much further inside Stuckey was there. So Stuckey making some adjustments, say, or some sacrifices to gain proximity, and the judges will have to take all of these things into account as now they switch things up. We'll see Daniel Stuckey go to the lead and Josh Robinson chasing him down.
Yeah, Daniel will lead, Josh giving chase, as you just said, Ryan. Let's see how we handle this. Second half of this battle. Remember, we'll go back to ARRIETA and Reynolds. And away they go. Clean start, no cones hit, no jumping of the light. Coming to the big bank. Robinson quickly jumps up. The Robo-Roo gets to the side, but loses some angle. Stuckey getting Stoke as he comes off of the bank. Let's see how he handles it. M-Spec Performance S15. Big angle there. Oh, it looks like he will come to a halt. That is a big mistake in that lead position. That would be an incomplete. So I think that is going to seal the fate. And Josh Robinson from Australia.
Well, this is going to be a tough break here, Jared, for Stuckey after a pretty solid run, and I'm sure that the judges would attest to that as well. We'll hear some feedback from Ryan Lantain momentarily, but let's get another look at it here. Here he is out front. You can see he's extending a pretty good gap there, and Robinson was actually at lower angle. Now coming through this center section, the back end starts to go, and he throws it in and has to induce a spin there. And Robinson smartly, in a calculated way, looks like he kind of saw it coming. He gets on the brakes immediately, is able to spin in tandem there with Stuckey and avoid any major damage. But unfortunately, that will be an incomplete in the lead, and that's going to turn the tables here and push it into the favor of Josh Robinson.
All right, let's take a look at the judges' verdict here. And it looks like, I believe that's Chris up top. There's Lantain and Eggert. And regardless, it is unanimous. Josh Robinson gets the win. Lantain, going to you. It was unanimous. Pretty easy decision there in my eyes. What do you say?
Yeah, you're right. It was pretty easy on our side. Looking at what Stuckey did in his chase position. Yeah, Stuckey looked pretty great in his chase role. He was, like Ryan said, mimicking what the lead car was doing pretty well, just cheated in a couple of areas, but he had a big opportunity there because Robinson made some mistakes in the chase on outer zone 1. But unfortunately, just got a little too at angle there in outside zone 2. Got on the paint and over-rotated. Unfortunate.
Yeah, and you got to think that the conditions throughout practice and then now here into competition, like we said, haven't seen raindrops physically fall from the sky for quite some time, but the water still pools and still exists, but that does transform and change throughout the day, Ryan.
A lot of grip from yesterday's dry practice towards the end of the day as well. So we've seen all that rubber come down, and then the rain this morning and the latter parts of, or the early morning and latter parts of mid-morning. Unfortunately, it's really slippery out there, and they have an hour to kind of get things set up. Now, let's go to this battle here with ARRIETA. Remember, he does have an incomplete here against Reynolds, so he has got a big advantage here as the lead driver. He can really keep the pace that he wants, Jared.
Here we go, Josh Reynolds out front, ARRIETA minus that front bumper, but don't think it'll hold him back. And as he drops, as I say that, gets into the pool. Ooh, man, he is wildly off course, going more rallycross again. As Reynolds comes in tight. Reynolds does need to keep a consistent line, so maybe needs to play it safe here, because if he spins or rotates or comes to a halt, that would be an incomplete. We'd have double incompletes, and it would come down to the chase run. And right now, ARRIETA really off course in the chase. Reynolds keeps it together, and that will seal the fate of, unfortunately, ARRIETA, and you could hear the frustration with his loud pedal, Ryan.
Yeah, we're not going to see anything that's unintuitive here. There was definitely an incomplete in the chase by ARRIETA. What you were focusing on, and rightly so, Jared, was making sure that Reynolds got through the course without incompleting himself. There you can see a really sizable mistake, just having a tough time finding the grip needed to get through this course. But see the little puffs of smoke coming up there on the bank? So we are seeing some dry areas of the course, but then you get down here into outside zone 2, and you can actually see water still splashing from the rear wheels as they go to outside zone number 2. Through the remainder of the course, Reynolds hanging in there pretty well, looks solid in his lead run overall. Doesn't get fully deep into the final outside zone, but he doesn't really need to. He just had to get through that run without incompleting, and he did that.
Reynolds waits for the inevitable outcome here. Unfortunately for ARRIETA, I believe his weekend is over. And there it is. Joshua Reynolds does get the victory. Josh Reynolds gets the win and advances on. He'll be going against Jonathan Hurst. So that should be a really fun battle to watch. Again, Hurst getting on the box at round 1. Saw him last couple weekends ago there at LS Fest, or was that last weekend? Man, lost track here as a crazy year has unfolded. Well, we're already halfway through top 32, because like I said, with these bye runs, Nick Novak and Derek Madison. Nick Novak from Las Vegas, Nevada. Derek Madison from St. Louis, Missouri. He had a large contingency of fans cheering him on, obviously in his hometown last round of competition. So hopefully his fans are still cheering him on, but from the comfort of their own home. TGIFD. Thank goodness it's Formula Drift. And obviously, what do you got there? Oh, yep. All right, Andy's doing the wave. Sweet. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Got the dirty panda wave. Keep your distance. Don't feed the panda. He's already had enough. Here we go. All right, Novak out front. Madison in the chase position. Novak coming in hot. Really good angle. Look at that. Holding that angle as well. Getting deeper. Taps the wall. Loses. Looks like he shreds that back bumper. Madison staying low and some wavering. Now coming down to that first outside zone. Let's see how he handles his transition. Novak. Nice and fluid. Madison just taking the total wrong line, unfortunately. You see a lot of corrections with those front wheels. Novak into that outside zone. You can hear that throttle control just kind of wrapping away. Ryan, really well done by Nick Novak.
And in interesting sense, the battle between these two guys who sit respectively at 15th and 18th place are really battling in a competition that is setting them up to see who is going to get into the top 10 and score one of those Pro 1 championship licenses if they decide indeed to take it. And Novak, as you said, to your credit, Jared, doing a really great job maximizing angle, still filling the first, second, and third outside zones. Madison coming up tight on that inside clip, but it looked pretty strong from Novak out front. And I think he did a lot of what the judges were talking about in setting a standard as a lead driver, trying to get as close as you possibly can in these conditions to a 100-point qualifying run. Was it perfect? No. But did he have some really high points? Yes, I think he did. And now Derek Madison's going to have to come back with something equal or better to that in his lead.
Yeah, and I think Novak's run really stood out because Madison was making a lot of mistakes in that chase position. So if something were unfortunately to happen, you know, lead versus lead, chase versus chase, Madison really needs to flex his muscles here and show up like he did in St. Louis. So here we go. Madison out front. Novak in that chase position. And there we go, initiating both of them at the same time. You can see the Cora Works on the door, the Inertia S14, and Madison almost, oh, he's parallel to the wall, shreds, oh, and that will be it. Whoa, buddy, hold on. As Madison loses it, that will be an incomplete for Madison. That'll be an easy advancement there for Novak, unfortunately for Madison. The Cora Works BMW looking good, signature purple. Elton the Rocket Man riding shotgun with Novak. The Keeley's tire, the official tire of Pro2, as we are here in the Keeley's Radial Top 32. Ryan?
Well, Jared, you know, we talk about how challenging it can be to drive in the rain, and we're seeing some of the results of that. Not only do drivers, oh, wow, really damaging the vehicle there up against that really tough concrete wall. But, you know, not only drivers are having to set up their cars differently for wet, they're also having to adjust as the conditions are changing from really, really wet to spots and areas that have a little bit of grip. We're already asking them to do something that is kind of counterintuitive to grip anyways, which is drifting, right? Going sideways and holding angle, and it's just that much harder when you're doing that in a sport like this to have the right tire setup, the right setup for rain, and you know, we do see that really the drivers that have practice in the rain, that understand the track conditions, do excel here as we see another driver move on. Yep,
there you have it. So Nick Novak gets the win. Nick Novak advances on. Derek Madison gets some body parts inside there. You saw the fiberglass and carbon fiber. Things are blowing off, and we are cleaning up that big bank. There we are, getting that shot. You can see our track crew I think all the track crews are like eager, like, sweet, yep, put us to work. We've been waiting for this. We're excited to be back out here on track. All right, so when we come back, we'll continue on with our top 32. We have 2 more battles left here in the Keeley's Tire Top 32, round 2 of the Link Engine Management Pro 2 Championship. A little nitrous spray there. And let's see him do battle. The windshield wiper is on. Don't know if I'm seeing any actual raindrops there of Hoffman.
It's very possible it could be raining over there and not here.
Right, totally. Yeah, raining at the start. Yeah, see, look at Powers is throwing his on too. So, yeah, very well could be just misting or spitting on the start line as opposed to over here in the stands. And it looks like here we go. Hoffman out front. Power in the chase. Up close and personal there with Hoffman. Let's see how they handle the bank. It's right up. I think we're going to be seeing some smoke. Just a little bit permeating on the back of these S chassis. Nice job by Hoffman. Hoffman keeping a consistent angle. Oh, Power. Oh, Power, the big correction there. That will be a massive incomplete there. And Hoffman shredding his back bumper. He needs to continue on in order to get the advantage. Just because that chase position stops, Hoffman needs to continue. Oh, man. That got a little sketchy there for Hoffman. He knew, he saw kind of Power probably out of the glimpse in the corner of his eye. Ryan?
Well, that was a really big sigh of relief. I think if you're Hoffman himself or a spotter and crew member of Hoffman, he got a great aggressive jump. Look at the gap there, and you can see he's nice and high on the bank. And right here, as we come down off that section, you can see Power drives off the course. He goes all 4 off. Hoffman goes pretty deep into outside zone 3. He's going to get just right at the edge there. The tires are okay to go to the edge of the track, so hitting those bumpers is more of a aesthetic, cosmetic thing. Now, this is where it got a little bit hairy for you, Jared, right around this last section, looking like he might have was going to unwind the vehicle. He doesn't and holds it, and so he will have a pretty strong advantage here over Mike Power going into the run where he will now take the lead.
Definitely can feel the power right now exuding. He needs to throw it down. Yeah, Hoffman, there we are sitting in the cockpit with Ricky. Pretty Ricky. Trying to take off that back bumper. He will be fortunately in the chase position, so it won't be if it did come off, but it looks like all hands on deck. Get this bumper off. We'll continue. Man, how do you attach that thing? JB Weld or what? Who's that? Sopa? Sopa can't rip that off? Come on, dude. Man, really, I mean, he looks like a big dude, but he can't rip that thing off? Okay. There we go. All right. Thank you, Sopa. All right. Barely used S chassis bumper for sale on eBay. It's going to be on Sopa's, what is it, Back to the Fusion? Is that his? Here we go. Second half of this battle. Power needs to throw it down. He had that mistake in the chase position. Now he gets the fresh air. Hoffman still has the windshield wiper on. I think it's just to ensure he's got clear vision if it does start to rain. Wall mid-run, and Power now through the chicane. Let's see if he can bring it. He needs to show up in grand fashion because he did have that major mistake. Throws it right to angle, right when he should. Hoffman now with a big correction. Still keeps it there, but not as big a mistake there.
Ooh.
And you can see Power now coming down the bank into the power alley, getting to the outside zone, both of them. In the second outside zone, excuse me, third I should say, front flip. Now bringing on home is Power. So I think Power did what he needed to do, but I don't think Hoffman would offset that incomplete in the chase position, Ryan.
Hoffman had a little moment on the latter part of outside zone number 1 where he reduced the angle quite a bit. Let's take a look at the initiation. You can see right up top, Power had some big angle there. It almost looked like he was going to unwind it more than that, but he holds in pretty strong here. So good lead run right there. See that big adjustment. It was noticeable from Hoffman. Now, was it an incomplete, right? I mean, that's really the only thing that's going to nullify this and take it to a lead-to-lead comparison. I don't think it was, but, you know, a more strict judge might think differently. Either way, we've got ourselves a situation where we had a clear incomplete by Power in the first run and a sizable mistake by Hoffman in the second. And we'll see how the judges take the result to the scorecards, as it looks like they're already coming in.
Scores are coming in from the judges.
Yep, do it.
And we are waiting, SOPA waiting to see who will advance on. All right, our next battle will be taking sight laps here as we await the outcome of the Hoffman Power battle. All right, this is an opportunity again for the drivers. The conditions of the bank way different from when we started. And the scores are in. Slide them left for Hoffman, right for Power. And it looks like Hoffman will get the win. Ricky Hoffman will advance on. Unfortunately, Mike Power knocked out. And so there you go. Some beat up S15 taillights and some back ends. As Power will park it for the weekend, Hoffman will see him in the 16. One more battle left, Ryan. So that Austin Mata will be going against Hoffman in the 16. And now Human Rahimi waits to see who will he be going against. Is it Dustin Miles or a late entry here, Steve Misko? And Ryan, you're talking about Misko coming in late here, a late entry here in the Achilles Tire Top 32. So it's great to see him in the mix. How did that come about? Do you know exactly, or?
Well, I know some drivers that had been contemplating, you know, coming into the 2020 season at one point. One of the reasons why we moved it to a top 32 bracket was because we anticipated that there could be as high as 30 drivers participating in Pro 2. Now, obviously, everything going on with COVID and blah, 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 we kind of stopped around that 24 marker. But there are a few drivers that have basically kind of been sitting, waiting for a few things to come in play. From my understanding, Steve Misko is one of those, and so he is attending here this weekend and certainly going to be creating a new variable for other drivers that may have not competed with him or seen him compete thus far in 2020.
Dustin Miles will lead. Misko will be given chase. And Misko warm up the tires. Go will give chase, and we are ready to send it for our final battle, top 32. Like I said, quite a few bye runs, but it will forge a top 16. We'll have, as Ryan said, a shorter break, and we'll be back in the action. But the making of a great event. If the conditions stay like this, which, you know what, they very well probably won't, just given the gray looming skies, but we can all say a prayer. Here we go. Miles out of the chicane. Misko in the chase. Miles initiates. It's tight to, looks like Misko actually deeper with the angle. Yes, sir. Miles playing a little bit safer, keeps consistent angle, but could definitely be higher through the power alley. Massive angle there from Miles. Transitions now. Misko, wow, slides in right to the door of Miles. So this late bloomer shows up and is definitely peacocking right now, bringing around that final outside zone. Really well executed there by Misko. I mean, you know, Miles had a good lead run, but Misko, just anything you could do, I could do. A little higher, a little deeper there, especially on that initiation, Ryan. That's a standout point.
Yeah, he definitely made a good first impression here. You can see already getting a deeper angle. He's not super close in proximity. He's on a higher line, so he's not necessarily doing exactly what the chase driver is supposed to do in following the lead driver, even if he is making mistakes on line. and things of that nature. But Miles right now is fighting for a top 10 position. He's just sitting outside in 11th place, so he really needs this victory here. He does a pretty good job on outside zone 3, and then you can see Misko closing up the door on inside clip number 1, and then the final transition here to the much tougher final 4th outside zone. Miles comes up a little bit short, and Misko makes him kind of pay a price for it a little bit by staying close on proximity and following the lead driver where he is supposed to, wherever the lead driver goes. So now we'll switch things up. We'll see how Misko gives a lead run against Dustin Miles, and we'll find out who's going to be moving on into the top 16.
All right, will Misko show up against Dustin Miles? Let's see what you got, Misko. And Miles, like you said, Ryan, fighting for that top 10. This is the halfway point of the season. At the end of the evening, we have podium, we have trophies, we got it all. Who's coming out on top? Right now it's all about who's going to the top 16. Misko initiates, big angle, big slam. Misko takes it hard into the wall. And that's an incomplete, wow.
That was a tough slam.
That was a big hit. We'll make sure he is okay as Miles, regardless of.
Those ones are always a little bit more scarier than the ones down on the inside oval, just because even in the wet conditions, it's probably the highest speed that they're going to reach right around initiation. And that was a pretty tough hit. It pushed them and forced them out onto the grass area about 3/4 of the way down on the bank. This will obviously be a clear win here for Dustin Miles. But if we could take a look at that replay, we'll be able to get some insight. I mean, this does happen.
His
when
door
you see
open,
those guys.
so that's good. Just an FYI, his door open. Just want to make sure he's okay.
And it looks like he's getting out of the car. But here's the initiation. He has a little bit of a hiccup there, and then, like we see a lot of times, he gets sucked into the wall. And once that happens, that front end really goes with it. Now he tries to drive out of it here, and then basically goes off course and through a bit of a puddle. So unfortunately, a big mistake there, a tough hit, and though showing some real signs of promise there, Jared, in that first half of the run, or first half of the battle rather, unfortunately the crash into the wall is going to take him out for the competition.
Yep, so there you have it. Dustin Miles does get the victory. We saw it officially there, according to the judges. Steve Misko, that late entry, like you said, Ryan, very promising there on that first run, but unfortunately the wall is the variable, the weather. There are plenty of variables around here given the conditions right now. But Ryan, overall, still really impressed with the Pro 2 drivers, even given the less than ideal conditions. So Ryan, we'll take a look at the schedule here as far as today's